Good morning to all our viewers out there. It's a beautiful sunny Wednesday morning, 20th of September. It is an honor for us to be joined by Sister Vee Nohombile Bush here today. Thank you very much, Sister. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Look at you.
And Esther, yeah, thanks for joining us.
My backup.
So, Sister Vee is a very familiar face in the cannabis industry. She's the author of this beautiful book, Cannabis, the Human Companion Plant. Yeah, this book has made its rounds, and I'm sure a lot of you out there are familiar with this book. So lovely work there. And yeah, for the viewers out there that aren't familiar with you and all that, let's start off with a little introduction. Do you mind telling us about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, sure. I'm Sister Vee. Everybody calls me that. That's the Rasta title. I'm a traditional doctor and I work with herbs, all of our indigenous herbs, but mostly I work with ganja because it's so effective for so many conditions. I've been working with the cannabis plant since I was in school because my Rasta teachers came very early in life. And while I was still in high school, I thought about writing this book.
Okay.
When I left school, I said, yeah, what are you going to do, Sister Vee? I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. Oh, wow, what's it going to be about? And I said it's going to be about the feminine divine, because in 1985 I couldn't say it's going to be about dacha. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was quite hectic times politically those days, and especially being a white trust, it was very difficult. So the decades went by. I always joke and say at the 10-year reunion, people were saying, so where's the book, Sister Vee? The 20-year reunion, same question. And, you know, it actually basically took me really 40 years to write this book.
Wow.
Because of the fact that I had to wait for the scientists so I could use the citations, because otherwise it would just be something that Sister Vee says. And, you know, I had to be able to give the scientific backup to what I'm saying, to justify what I'm trying to say about the plant.
So this is literally your life's work.
It's literally my life work, and you could even go further and say that it's my final medical thesis, because I did 2 theses before.
Okay.
So, but not in this format, you know, just digitally. And that. So,
is that available online for people to see?
I don't even have a copy of it. Everything went in the various raids, all my research, all my studies, my theses, even my horticulture thesis,
and
that one went.
That's okay, but at least everything is still led up to this beautiful piece of work here.
Yes.
So outside of this, is there, what other work do you do? Do you also serve as a traditional healer?
Yes, I do. I've got quite a busy practice. I'm very, very busy. You know, I get people calling me. I don't know where they even get my name from. It's just helping people who are trying to access the medicine. Someone asked me the other day, what type of conditions do I deal with? And, you know, I still am seeing way too much cancer coming through. Lots of people with cancer. Lots of people going for chemo and wanting the CBD protection for chemo. So that's amazing, because you really get to see the plant shining there.
I watch women die every day. I watch children bury their moms. So I know what is in front of me, and I'm doing everything I can to prevent that.
Sarah Amento and her family are running out of time. She has stage 4 cancer, the chemotherapy isn't working, and the doctors say there's nothing more they can do.
Left with no options, everybody speaks about cannabis oil. There's a certain stigma, especially being a mother, of doing cannabis oil. You know, everyone looks at it like you're getting high, and it's not. It's a medical. It's a natural option that the government's ignoring, and I want to live. I have to live.
Cannabis has been used as a medicine for centuries. It's legal in half US states. A British drugs company is trialling a new cancer drug, and Britain's leading cancer research group is interested.
Cannabinoids are certainly very interesting molecules, and there's a lot of research. There's hundreds of papers being published looking at their chemical properties against cancer cells. Turning that into effective treatments is a long road, and certainly it's not going to be the one cure for cancer, because nothing is.
This is how you're able to gauge what level of activity is going on in your body.
Stephanie LaRue says she has evidence cannabis has worked, which is backed up by her doctor.
The cannabis works. No chemo. I only did cannabis, and the tumors are gone. And the scans I have is evidence and proof of that. Kind of like, what more do you need?
A lot more, according to one of the world's leading cancer doctors.
This is chemotherapy. So these are natural products, you know.
The man who helped cure Lance Armstrong's cancer needs data and real scientific evidence.
Until somebody proves it, whether it be the manufacturers who put together a clinical trial, whether it be doctors who get government funding to do it, or patients who say, here are my records, and let's put it in a medical journal and be transparent with what I had, what I was treated with, and what my outcome was, then until that, it's snake oil. Again, I'm not trying to impede progress or say it's bad, but at the same time, I don't want people to get false hope.
So what is the evidence? Well, there are hundreds of lab reports that have been published. A study on mice which showed that it worked. A human trial that saw 8 out of 9 patients respond to treatment, even though they all did die in the time you might expect. Dozens of charities and organizations are starting to think there's something in it. Making the oil is still an underground industry. The cannabis is legal, the flammable solvents he's using aren't.
We then pour the liquid into the pan.
So this is the finished product?
Yeah, this is the finished product.
And do you think this is a cure for cancer?
In many instances it is, and it can be. It depends on the person's particular condition or their state, how advanced the cancer is, but we've seen thousands and thousands of people get better from using this oil.
And it's what Sarah Armento is trying.
I squeeze out a very little amount, and then I believe it's the best option. I've seen it work for others, and I'm hoping it'll work for me.
It is her only hope, but it is also unproven medicine. Alistair Leithhead, BBC News, Los Angeles.
Because it can protect people from radiative and chemo treatment.
So just on that, Sister Vee, sorry for interrupting you, but for cancer, as someone with all this knowledge, like just quickly in there, what would your advice be to them, like say now for young people like me, to prevent cancer from growing? How do you stay safe from that?
Absolutely.
In a holistic way?
Absolutely, that's such a good question, Betty, and I'm so glad you asked it, because I really want people to realize that we need this medicine as a preventative care, because my core focus in my communities that I work in and with all my patients is prevention. We don't have that in the medical world anymore. If everybody could realize that up until 1937, CBD was always in the food chain. In 1937, they take it out the food chain and change it to MSG and aspartame. And that's when we start to see serious cancer coming in. No homoetic cancer type. You know what I'm saying?
I see. Okay,
it's a new thing coming from the last 100 years.
So you would say, for example, if you now say a regular recreational user and you smoke cannabis every day, that's not the answer. It's, you say it fits, it comes with the CBD. How do you administer that? Through oils?
Yeah, in the old days, I mean, you couldn't even get coconut oil. It was almost as illegal as ganja. You know, they were really trying to convince people, chapter 2, telling the whole story, they tried to convince people that coconut oil give you heart attacks and cholesterol and all that rubbish. You know?
Okay.
So we were extracting with honey those days, and also in olive oil. Yeah. So there's many ways to, but to answer your question, to protect yourself from cancer and any other of these so-called autoimmune diseases, any of these new conditions that are coming around, to protect yourself, you have to take it internally.
Okay, yeah? Internally, all right.
Reason for that is it's got to go past the liver.
The endocannabinoid system is found throughout the brains and nervous systems within all mammalian species and is the most extensive biological system of receptors in the body. Humans are born with an endocannabinoid system that serves an important function in both the development of the brain and the formation and development of synapses, the electrical connections in the brain that allow neurotransmitters to send information. Endocannabinoids and the receptors they bind to exist throughout the body. In the nervous system, glands, immune cells, organs, brain, and connective tissues. The system permeates all 11 central physiological systems in the body, working to handle the many functions necessary for survival. The ECS works to balance our vital physiological functions, affecting everything from sleep, appetite, pain, inflammation, memory, mood, and reproduction. How the ECS works. The ECS helps to regulate homeostasis across all the physiological systems, ensuring they're all working in harmony with one another. External stress creates an increase in the stress hormone, cortisol, in your bloodstream, which leads to an increase in endocannabinoid production in response. The endocannabinoids increase with stress to balance cortisol production in the blood. Endocannabinoids are produced naturally inside of the body. Compounds found outside the body, like CBD and THC, are called exogenous cannabinoids. CBD and THC are phytocannabinoids, meaning they originate from plants. Exogenous cannabinoids act similarly to the endocannabinoids produced by the body itself. The ECS works in the key lock model. Cannabinoids act as the keys within the endocannabinoid system, while receptors act like locks. Every time one key fits into one lock, the lock causes an effect to occur in the body. The ECS comprises 3 primary components: endocannabinoids, enzymes, and receptors. The 2 main types of endocannabinoids found in the body are anandamide and 2-AG. 2-AG is the most prevalent endocannabinoid, responsible for managing appetite, pain response, and immune system functions. Anandamide is responsible for runner's high and the blissful states that come from exercise and meditation. Enzymes act within the ECS to recycle used endocannabinoids after the body is through with them. Receptors receive the messages transmitted by cannabinoids, the groups of active compounds that interact with ECS receptors. There are 2 main types of receptors, CB1 and CB2. CB1 receptors exist in the brain and spinal cord, working to regulate appetite, memory, and to reduce pain. CB2 receptors are distributed within the immune system, working primarily to reduce inflammation throughout the body. In each part of the body, the endocannabinoid system performs different tasks, but the ECS always has one goal: homeostasis. The system works to keep the body stable through the inevitable changes and variations in the external physical and emotional environment. This unique endogenous system is the reason for the multiple therapy uses of medical cannabis.
And into the system. So with smoking, yes, I know hundreds of people who cured themselves with just puffing.
Oh,
cured
really?
themselves
Okay.
from cancer with just puffing. But the reality is the medicine does need to go into the system orally.
Okay.
Even topically, you're going to get quite a lot of benefits. But cancer is a big problem, big problem, because it's in all the food, the water. You don't need me to tell you all those things.
I see.
Yeah.
So just including what cannabis in your diet?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I highly recommend that people take a daily dose of hemp seed oil.
Hemp seed oil.
Yes, and the reason why I say that is because the seeds, believe me, I got arrested for 2 kilos of seeds once, it was hectic, but the cannabis seed, they call it hemp seed, it's the cannabis seed. the cannabis seed, and there are scientific papers out there that it's not just me saying this, so I'm speaking with the backup, that the hemp seed is the most perfectly balanced nutritional food for human beings.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about the proteins that I've mentioned in hemp. Hemp seed oil is known for its desired balance of amino acids, and the only other legume higher in hemp seed as a source of protein is soybeans. Hemp seeds provide all 9 of the essential amino acids, and you can see here on this graphic that the starred or asterisk related to the essential amino acid. And again, essential means that we do not manufacture nor store these compounds in our body. We have to get them from our diet. One thing that hemp seed has, which is amazing, is it's very high compared to all of these other types of protein sources. It's very high in arginine. Arginine is a very important compound because, number one, as an amino acid, it is a major player in protein building. It also acts as a vasodilator. This is why individuals who may have high blood pressure, hypertension, and they start to add these hemp and hemp seed oils to their diet, they definitely need to talk to their doctor because they may need to have their blood pressure medication decreased. Because the more that you add this hemp seed oil to your diet or hemp seeds to your diet, the more that your body's blood vessels will dilate, which reduces the pressure inside of them. Many people will also take arginine, so they'll go to the GNC store and they'll buy arginine that has been created and isolated, and then they will buy that to help them with their blood pressure problems. Hemp seeds also contain another compound, only second to soybeans, called glutamic acid or glutamic acid. This is another protein builder, but it also is the most abundant excitatory neurotransmitter. It's the most abundant excitatory neurotransmitter in the body, which means that it's responsible for creating the responses that we need in order to sustain our body's functions. So hemp seed has these proteins, but more importantly, it has the proteins that are necessary for nervous system function and for good cardiovascular health.
So, Denise, if I'm an athlete, it sounds like this is something I should be supplementing my diet with, because it also,
absolutely,
it seems like it helps with alertness and things like that as well.
Absolutely, because it's gonna help with the brain cognition. It's gonna work on those. Remember, we're working on those omega-3s are going to be working to help on the central nervous system and the cannabinoid 1 receptors.
Yeah, and I always find it interesting. We always hear about concussions, a huge conversation about that. And I've seen a lot of research about fish oil helping with the inflammation of, I guess, brain trauma or head trauma. But if fish oil is good, hemp seeds must also be good.
Hemp seed will probably be way better and more tasty, too.
In those seeds, you've got the highest source of vitamin B of any other foodstuff on earth. That's something, because the biggest problem with all these chronic sicknesses today and cancer, that charge your vitamin B. All the medications charge your vitamin B. And what happens when you don't have enough vitamin B? It goes much further than just having enough energy. You can lose oxygen if you don't have enough vitamin B, because vitamin B creates the red blood cells, yes. Okay. So cannabis helps you to absorb that, and if you can take the hemp seed oil, that is, if people want to supplement, you know, again, there's so many products nowadays, you know, we've got no reason not to get this medicine in. Take tinctures, and I recommend the hemp seed oil. Start there with the hemp seed oil. Okay. Yeah.
The hemp seed has got the most balanced protein profile. So you get a bunch of different protein, yes.
Most important.
Yes.
Omega-3, 6, and 9. You can search the whole planet and you're going to struggle to find products that have 3, 6, and 9. And that is why the scientists say that it's the most perfectly balanced. Now remember, cannabis is all about the fats. The main target of THC is the brain. The main target of CBD is the brain. Why? Because the brain is 60% fat, and every molecule inside the cannabis plant, including the terpenoids, are what we call lipophilic, fat-loving, anti-water, hydrophobic. Yeah. So it's all. Can you see the connection between the fats? Yeah. That's why I use coconut oil, because it's got the highest percentage of saturated fat. So I get full extraction.
Can we just go like a little bit like into the endocrine system and like the CB1 receptor, CB2?
Into the endocannabinoid system.
Yes. Just if we can explain that on a basic level to our viewers and how that works.
Absolutely. Look, there's nothing simple about medicine these days. It's quite complicated, but I like to keep things so simple that the baby can understand what I'm saying. So inside of us, we all have a system called the endocannabinoid system. And I just want to say something, if I may. I like people to know the truth. And so a lot of this information has been suppressed from us. They, to this day, do not teach it to the doctors in medical school. It's so distressing for me. Every day I get an email or something from a doctor saying, I studied the body for 7 years, I don't know about this.
Exactly, they don't teach it to...
What? So... We have 350 million years archaeology evidence of the endocannabinoid receptors in a creature that doesn't even have a brain or a heart. So in the jellyfish.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is not a new therapeutic target as some medical professions want us to think that humans woke up in the 1990s and developed the system. We have always had the system, and as I said to you earlier, 1937. That wasn't that long ago. It is almost 100 years. It was in the food chain because they knew that we had the system.
Okay.
So I really like people to know that and understand that, and then obviously ask the questions: why was it kept taken away from us?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, because this is suppressed information, but it's an integral part to our well-being, because it's a big part of obtaining optimal health.
Absolutely. So the endocannabinoid system, which is made up of the receptors and the endocannabinoids. So the human version of THC inside of our bodies is anandamide. You've heard that one before.
Yeah.
Anandamide is a Sanskrit word meaning bliss. And that's why when I give my is it illegal to be happy speech, I like to, always remind people, and it was an Irish scientist who named it with that Sanskrit name, which means bliss. And then the human version of CBD is 2AG. I speak about all of those in the book.
If you say the human version?
So you get cannabinoids, right? THC, CBD, CBC, CBG.
Yes.
So from the plant, they're called phytocannabinoids. Inside of our body, we have our own cannabinoids that the human body makes. Anandamide is the main one, so I call it the human version of THC because it mimics THC. When you look at the science, they're the same shape, they fit into the same receptor, the docking bay of the endocannabinoid receptors. So it is known that anandamide is the human version of THC. So yes, humans have evolved to produce THC and CBD, and there is science to prove that every molecule inside the plant, we have a human version inside of us. So there is no doubt in my mind that this is the human companion plant.
What do you really know about cannabis? Well, yes, that too. But did you know that cannabis has been used as a medicinal plant since the dawn of human history? That the medicinal use of cannabis gradually waned as opiates became more widespread? Closer to our own times, Raphael Mechoulam isolated and synthesized one of the main active components of the plant. The cannabinoid THC followed shortly afterwards by CBD. He discovered that this organic compound has the incredible ability of connecting molecularly with certain receptors housed in many of the cells in our body.
This cannabinoid has sometimes been dubbed the key to a molecular padlock. By connecting the CB1 and CB2 receptors, cannabinoids act as chemical messengers. Meshulam and his team wondered why there was a specific receptor in our bodies for this type of molecule. In 1992, a cannabinoid was finally located that is secreted naturally by our body. It was called anandamide. Subsequently, another similar molecule was discovered, also in our organism, which was called 2-AG. And it was discovered too that anandamide forms part of a wider system of intercellular communication in our bodies. This previously unknown system is known as the Endocannabinoid System, and it is closely associated to our body's self-regulating processes, such as control of temperature and pH. It is involved in many different aspects, including motor coordination, neuroprotection, pain control, or appetite, among others. The endocannabinoid system helps maintain the complex balance between the different biological functions, a process known as homeostasis. THC and CBD are two of over 100 cannabinoids produced by the plant. The discovery of cannabinoids has opened up a new field in the research of the processes that regulate our organism. We know that some cannabinoids have therapeutic applications, which make them very useful in the treatment of pain, cancer, or HIV. Cannabis has been part of human life for thousands of years and has tremendous properties beyond its mere recreational use. Its key role for our understanding of the endocannabinoid system and its special relationship with the chemistry of our body makes it unique, and there is still much to be discovered.
Are there any other plants that have those cannabinoids in?
Yes, many plants do have CBD, CBC, CBG even, and some plants even CBN, and CBN is like a breakdown product of THC. So those plants that stand in the bush and don't get harvested for long and they start going brown already, there's a rich, very rich medicine. Mm-hmm. So THC is only found in the cannabis plant. Okay. CBD is in the cocoa plant, the pepper plant. All plants have got CBD in, but only cannabis has got THC. However, I like to always give the truth. Anandamide, here's the thing that's so interesting. Anandamide, which is a human endogenous cannabinoid, has been found in some fungi. And this is heavy research, because I like to go deep, you know. Because how is it possible you can't, it's got to be another plant with THC, and I've been looking my whole life, but no. So only this plant has THC, and THC, when it comes to the endocannabinoid system, it's vital. You cannot take an isolate of CBD or an isolate of THCV or CBD or any of the other cannabinoids and get the same efficacy as if when there's THC inside the mix, because the receptors are designed in such a way that only THC can get in there. It's a very deep binding. I speak about it in the book, this one, chapter 3. It's this wonderful, stunning paper that was written by these Chinese medical students, long time, 90s. And they described the endocannabinoid receptors so beautifully in this paper. They use words like deep binding pockets, and you can really get a feel for the structure because it's absolutely fascinating. You know, I like to go deep in there, so when I'm speaking to the medical students, I can really give them an understanding of how the system works. You mentioned the endocrine system just now. I think that the most exciting medical finding for me in my life in terms of the endocannabinoid system was the reality in the early 90s that this system controls the endocrine system.
Which is what?
The hormones.